South Carolina 15, Tennessee 9. Mark Rogers TV with instant analysis as the Gamecocks move on to 6-2. This was a tale of two halves. This is also, in the big picture, a tale of two programs. One on the assumption that would be South Carolina after a bowl game, after the 3 wins in 2015, and then continuing the progress under Will Muschamp this season. For Tennessee, they have peaked. They continue on the descent. And it's been basically a dumpster fire and could be a lot worse record-wise. The Vols are 3-3. But let's get to the football game and let's pick it up. And we'll backtrack about the action earlier in the game, but we'll get to the crucial time in the last drive here by Jarrett Garantano and what the Vols almost accomplished in fending off South Carolina and pulling out a victory. They got the ball with 1:13 left in the game. South Carolina had just kicked a field goal to make it 15-9. So because of a botched PAT earlier, Tennessee had a chance with a touchdown to win the game. But with 1:13 left to play and at their own 25-yard line, I thought South Carolina took on the right approach, rushing 3, dropping 8. And for the first few plays, it looked as though, okay, Garantano's too inexperienced to find anyone to throw to with 8 in coverage. And for the first play of the series, South Carolina actually got to him with a 3-man rush. So that looked like the perfect defense. But Garantano showed us something here. And this may be hope for Tennessee fans, regardless of who the head coach is later on. Garantano with a beautiful throw to the sideline, 16 yards to Marquez Callaway, Tennessee's leading receiver, only with 4 catches for 37 yards. Not his fault. That was the game plan. They were extremely conservative, both offenses, both sides. Then Brandon Johnson got free. The coverage was blown in the zone. The 3 deep didn't work. Brandon Johnson got behind the defense, caught it down to the 22-yard line. Garantano delivered a strike. Yeah, the guy was wide open, but it was a beautiful throw down the seam, plenty of zip on it. Got Tennessee to the 22 with about 45 seconds left. All right. In the red zone, the Tennessee offense had bogged down all day. It did so again right here. They did get a play to Marquez Callaway again on the slant to give them 1st and goal at the 5, and then they just couldn't punch it in. You had Rashad Felton, the cornerback for South Carolina, commit a bad pass interference on the fade to Callaway. The ball was uncatchable, and it gave, of course, the 1st down to Tennessee. Pass was batted down on the slant as there was only 4 seconds left in the game. Possibly a bad decision on regards to the play selection, the route selection. A lot of bodies in there, a lot of hands. Pass batted down. That play started with 4 seconds left. The game clock now is neutral. It's controlled by a neutral party. And it was a bit questionable that there was still 1 second left, but Tennessee had one more shot. And Chris Lamons made a really good play as Garantano. They got him outside on the rollout, had one primary receiver. Lamons made the play to break it up, and the game was over 15-9. Tennessee ran the ball with John Kelly in the first half. They ran it with Garantano as well. Kelly, 16 carries for 58 yards on the game, but they ran it well early. South Carolina stuffed early. And this is one of the main keys we addressed this week. South Carolina came into the game last in the SEC in rushing offense, or next to last at 97 yards per game. Tennessee last in rushing defense, giving up 253 yards per game. Much of that skewed by the Georgia Tech game in which it went to overtime and the Yellow Jackets run on just about anyone. Still, Tennessee awful in rush defense, but they stepped up in the first half. But South Carolina ran the ball in the second half, ran it effectively on a number of series that were key to keeping the ball and gaining field position, keeping field position, and kicking field goals that ultimately won the game. Jake Bentley's stats didn't look great. He went 15 of 24 for $129. Wasn't asked to do much in the passing game, but there was one particular field goal drive, and actually the touchdown drive. If you look at just that series of the Bentley touchdown drive, the only touchdown drive of the game, Bentley looked sensational, throwing NFL-style passes to the outside, out routes, long, deep throws with zip and on the money, in particular to Brian Edwards, who caught 6 for 63. South Carolina's pass rush was very effective in this game. They had 5 sacks through 3 quarters. Don't recall any particular sacks in the fourth quarter that would have upped that total. Actually, they did have at least 2 in the fourth quarter. So South Carolina really made life difficult with 7 sacks on Garantano. Rico Dowdle left the game early after 4 carries for 19 yards, but A.J. Turner and Tyson Williams really picked up the running game for South Carolina, and a beat-up offensive line. 14 carries for 86 for A.J. Turner. South Carolina ran the ball for 194 yards after only running for about 30 yards in the first half. They really beat up Tennessee's front in the second half. It was a 9-9 game, 5 minutes left. Tennessee at its own 25. Dante Sawyer with a sack on Garantano, who did well on the strip sack to get the ball back, or South Carolina might have ended the game right there. Short punt, 37 yards, gets South Carolina out to the 50. That's when they took control of the game, at least in kicking the game-winning field goals. They ran it down Tennessee's throats, lined up for the field goal, got that one. Another short field, Parker White converted from 36 yards to make it 15-9, and that set up the final drive that we outlined here with 1:13 left in the game. Keep in mind, the freshman Parker White, South Carolina's place kicker, was 4 of 11 entering the game, and the balance of the game was placed on his foot, and he converted 3 of 3 field goals, and the last one from 36, and also a career long of 47. South Carolina 15-9. They're now 6-2. 3-2 in the SEC. They've got the impressive win on opening day against North Carolina State. Really, the only disappointing effort in particular was the game at home against Kentucky, losing to the Wildcats there. The other loss, very understandable, at Kyle Field against Texas A&M, a decent football team, and again on the road for South Carolina. They've got Vandy at home next, and then a bit of a showdown against Georgia. They're not going to be given much of a chance, but they do have a shot at, let's see now, 3-2 in the SEC to make it interesting in the SEC Eastern Division. Probably not going to happen. Georgia looks to be the dominant team in the division. For Tennessee, it's survival mode, 3-3. It was noted early in the game when they took the lead against South Carolina at 3-0, then 6-0, that this is the first time this season, and this is the second week of October, that Tennessee has had a lead on a Power 5 opponent. They barely beat UMass. They only led Georgia Tech on opening night when they won the game in overtime, and they have the FCS win against Indiana State. Tennessee's in a world of hurt, meaning Butch Jones in particular in a world of hurt. So unless the miraculous happens, Butch Jones most likely, with his last stay, his last go-around, his last rodeo in Knoxville, he's 3-3, 0-3 in the SEC. Might as well say 0-4. It's a trip to Tuscaloosa for the Vols next week. South Carolina on the ascension, Tennessee on the descension, but we saw how close these teams are, not necessarily the programs, but these particular teams, as South Carolina ekes it out, holds out Tennessee from the 2-yard line at the gun, 15-9. That's my instant analysis. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for the best in college football coverage, and I enjoy your comments, so please send them in right here on Mark Rogers TV.